ladies and gentlemen, YouTube is shutting down the tech channels. Now, this is not any clickbait, actually. This is actually a grim reality, unfortunate. I wish it was clickbait. I really wish this wasn't a reality. But a channel known as Enderman, who basically is a educational channel about, computer malware. This is a guy that talks about computer stuff, similar in the vein of me, right? I talk about computer viruses, I talk about goofy stuff, I talk about video game preservation, I talk about self-hosting, I talk about things that keep you out of sort of the big tech matrix. Now, this channel got completely shut down. This page isn't available. Sorry about that. Try searching for something else. Now, why did this channel actually get shut down? So according to Enderman, YouTube shuts down his channel because it was linked to a channel that was terminated. So apparently a channel that had 3 or more strikes ended up getting this channel terminated. Now, what was the channel name? Well, it was this Japanese string of characters. Of course, they've got a channel ID, yada, yada, yada. We've permanently terminated your channel from YouTube. Going forward, you won't be able to access, possess, or create any other YouTube channels. Now, it's interesting to me. I always think a linked YouTube channel is something that, probably falls underneath your actual, YouTube or Google account. Under a Google account, you can always have different YouTube accounts. You can make multiple accounts under a brand account, so to speak. Now, the thing is, when I looked further into this account, another YouTuber, another group by the name of Scratch It Gaming, ended up showcasing that they also ended up having their channel linked to this mystical Japanese account. Now, whatever this Japanese account is, I think somewhere in the YouTube AI, it's fucking up and causing tons of these accounts to be tangentially related in some way in the system and cause the site to actually take it down. Now, this is where I think it's actually a mistake, but then I want to get a little bit deeper into it, right? Obviously, when it came to appealing this mistake, Enderman showed that, yeah, the appeal system is kind of useless because it seems like there really isn't a human being present in any of these processes, okay? Whether it comes to the moderation and whether it comes to the human appeal. And I honestly feel that way too, because sometimes when I have like an hour-long video that gets hit with like, a strike or like a strike, for instance, right? And it's like, okay, appeal to video like an age restriction. And then like an hour-long video will be viewed in like 30 seconds by some moderator. And then it's like, all right, well, obviously that doesn't seem to be a fucking human. Come on now. Now, obviously looking closer into his content, one of the videos that he had, activating Windows 11 with ChatGPT, ended up getting taken down for a policy known as harmful or dangerous content. Now, this is a policy that I know all too well, simply because it is the one policy that puts any tech-related video that I post on this channel at risk. One of those things where, people in the comments always go, Muda, you always kind of shy away from sailing the 7 seas or being a little risque with your jokes about it. Or, Muda, you never really delve super duper deep into something. And sometimes it's a tactical decision because ultimately I know that there's a fine line, and that line can get very blurry when it comes to computer-related videos, where talking about certain topics can, in fact, put your channel in an undue, crosshair when it comes to this policy. Now, this policy is content that discourages dangerous or illegal activities, right? Now, inside this policy, amongst dangerous and life-threatening situations, firearms and fucking explosives, lies the digital security content. So any content that talks about instructional theft, right, with the express intent to steal physical goods or get something for free. Now, again, okay, there's a fine line between, I would say, a jokey video about teaching people how to activate Windows with ChatGPT. Look, there's plenty of ways to activate Windows for free. And a lot of those free methods sit on platforms that Microsoft owns. Get up. And of course, obviously, there's a fine line between that content and somebody uploading how to download Adobe Photoshop for free 2025 tutorial. So obviously, there's a big range, right? But YouTube's moderation filter looks at all these things and fucking Homelander lasers them out of existence. So then you've got hacking, demonstrating how to use computers or information technology with the intent to steal credentials, compromise personal data, or cause serious harm. Now, even videos that I've made as of this week, I felt could be targeted by this. You know, videos where I show you guys the hacker perspective of like what a remote access Trojan does. Now, even in those videos, I go through lengths to censor names of tools, and I also use tools that are like 10, 15 years old at this point that are picked up by pretty much even the shittiest antivirus engine, right? I'm never going to sit there and teach you the current method on how to hack somebody. You know, there's a fine line between teaching people and then making a step-by-step tutorial on how to do something nefarious. So of course, bypassing payment for digital contents or services. So if you show people how to use, I guess, torrent software to download something illegally, that's wrong. And then of course, things like phishing and crypto phishing. So these are actual, videos, and these are actual methods meant literally for negative purposes. Now, it wasn't just Enderman's channel that ended up getting hit. There was a bunch of other channels like Cyber CPU Tech. He kind of had a video talking about how the tech channels are in danger because YouTube's AI would just jump in and use this harmful and dangerous policy to shut down content. I think nothing is more evident than what happened to Jeff Geerling, who basically got a YouTube community guideline strike. Yes, right here. When he made this video, I replaced my Apple TV with a Raspberry Pi. You might be like, what kind of dangerous shit did Jeff do? Well, what Jeff decided to do was he decided to take his own media and host what appears to be a Jellyfin server. Now, for anybody that doesn't know what a Jellyfin server is, do you guys hate using Netflix? You know, like, I genuinely hate most digital distribution services because anytime I go to like Netflix, I watch something that I like, and then I come back like a couple months later, and then suddenly it's like pulled from rotation, Or I can only watch it in a specific country. Now, instead of whipping out the VPN, I've reached a point in my life that instead of paying like $10 or more for each of these services, I take the vast amount of physical media that I actually care about. So for instance, this is John Wick 2, one of my favorite action movies, right? Now I have the actual Blu-ray and HD Blu-ray. So what I do is I take one of these, I back the movie up onto my computer, and then using the Jellyfin server, I can actually host my own version. Oh no. Oh no, my lawyer's telling me to stop. Now, if I get Jellyfin, for instance, and I run it on my own local server, I can copy this movie that I own to that server, and then no matter where I am, even if I'm outside my house, I can stream John Wick 2 in glorious 4K HDR to any of my connected devices. Now, if YouTube considers this to be harmful and dangerous, then I would simply ask how. I'm not telling you to pirate this movie. In fact, don't pirate John Wick 2, okay? All right, there's a lot of people that worked on this movie that deserve to get paid, all right? Simple as that. So here's the thing, but if you are gonna get movies, like for instance, Dexter is a show that I really enjoy now. I got into it, and because I'm scared that Netflix is gonna just take away every season, I ended up buying all of them on sale, like physically, like the actual DVDs and Blu-rays. I backed them up and now I have the entire Dexter show, even the last 3 shitty seasons, on my actual server, so I can watch them at any moment. So that is, of course, something that YouTube at one point considered harmful or dangerous. It even came out to Linus Tech Tips, where one of his videos, De-Google Your Life, ended up getting removed because Linus decided to showcase other tools that could access YouTube unofficially, which obviously YouTube is not a fan of. But of course, on a personal note, I really don't care what big tech says. I just care that you guys learn how to self-host. I love teaching you guys about computer viruses. I love talking about cybersecurity videos. And ultimately, at the end of the day, all right, I am not here to teach you how to commit illegal acts. But I think there's a fine line between people directly uploading illegal acts and people just, teaching, which is obviously something that YouTube didn't put any effort into when it came to banning Enderman's channel. Because Enderman did not produce any videos that were outright promoting any form of piracy from my knowledge, or teaching people how to commit harmful or dangerous acts. It's to a point that I wonder, even in my videos when I showcase things like emulation on a Steam Deck, when is YouTube going to eventually jump in, or when is Google going to jump in and say, hey, showing people how to use, emulators for systems that I guess, some could argue that Nintendo would say that they're the more recent systems like the Switch, or even the Wii U are systems that, you have to circumvent some level of copyright protection for just to get access to ROMs or ISO files for games that you own, which technically could make it against the law, right? Obviously, these are things that have to go to court and whatnot, but, you know, they could make the argument that if you're emulating games on the Switch, or you're emulating PS4 games, or you're emulating games where you have to, you know, violate copyright protection to back up your project, that could technically be classified in the harmful or dangerous category, right? It's a very freaky line to get involved with, and it's something that obviously every upload that I do regarding emulation, cybersecurity, computer hacking, anything of that nature, it freaks me out. It freaks any content creator out. I'm making a video, literally, in the next few days, about Hitler ransomware, okay? It was a joke cybersecurity news that got picked up, and it was absolutely, it's actually a hilarious story to go down into. But it makes me wonder if showcasing the leader of the Third Reich in ransomware format is eventually going to not only get the video get hit with like harmful or dangerous content, but maybe even another violation that that YouTube's AI decides to moderate into. You know, it got to a point where even 6 days ago, it was reported that YouTube was taking down videos on performing non-standard Windows 11 installs. So even in videos where I showcased how to go to sites like Rufus and skip some of the Windows 11 requirements, you know, so you can run it on unsupported hardware, and even in videos where I showcased how you can still activate Windows 11 locally without requiring a Microsoft account, those videos are also, I guess, under threat, not by Microsoft, but by the YouTube moderation AI. Now, look, at this point, I think YouTube's AI system is out of control. I don't actually think a human being is involved here. So at least for Enderman, I'm sure most other people have done this. I'm reaching out to the connections that I have on YouTube just so, you know, they're aware of this, and hopefully he can get his channel back. But for a lot of YouTube tech channels, it's not uncommon, okay, that the biggest fear people have when talking about anything tech-related, right? Especially when it comes to interesting topics like self-hosting, like, you know, decoupling your life from big tech organizations like Google that runs this website, that could be considered harmful or dangerous content. Now, I don't know if that content is necessarily harmful or dangerous, or if it's because Google doesn't appreciate the fact that people are kind of slowly waking up to the fact that you can have network-wide ad blockers through Raspberry Pis connected in your home network. Whether people know that you don't need to have a Netflix subscription if you want to watch your content, stream it to any device in your house or through the internet. You know, maybe they're just mad that, you know, there are games that are being slowly ripped away from ownership that people are able to dig up through piracy, literally through piracy. There are games that are so dead, like Driver San Francisco, that the only way to play them is to fucking pirate them. You know what I mean? So maybe these sites don't appreciate it, but ultimately, at the end of the day, you know, I think it's less that the content is harmful or dangerous, and more that it probably is harmful or dangerous to the bottom line for some of these companies, right? Look, ultimately, at the end of the day, I think for content creators who are making cybersecurity videos or tech-related videos, this is unfortunately something that YouTube has to really address. Because it's not okay that channels are getting taken down, and yet still there are crazy bots, you know, distributing links to, you know, CP-related websites in people's comments, right? It's insane that a lot of these things are happening the way that they are, right? There is so much bad on YouTube, and to see good people get taken down in amongst all of that is infuriating. Now, obviously, this is the reason where I also have an Odyssey channel, and no, I don't expect this channel to be mega popular and me to make thousands and millions of dollars off of it. That's not the point. I easily could have made either a Rumble channel. The point is, if you're a content creator, having a platform where you can upload or mirror your videos to is also pretty important. Because for Enderman, right, his channel gets taken down. And if it was a creator that didn't have alternative backups, that would have been years of that person's hard work. Like literally a chunk of your life just got fucking snapped away. So, you know, alternative platforms are great, but ultimately YouTube's AI has to get its shit together. That said, if you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike if you dislike it. Hopefully, Enderman, you get your channel back. But tech guys, you gotta be a little careful, man. YouTube's AI is fucking up, and everyone's paying the price for it. I am out.